the progressive stages of devotional service. And the last section from shloka number 13, 14 to all the way to shloka number 20, the last shloka of chapter number 12, where Krishna would talk about the qualities of devotees. There are around 36 qualities of devotees are mentioned, which are very dear to Krishna. Just to give one, the shloka number 13 and 14, he says that the shloka number 12 and 13, what is the shloka? Advesta sarva bhutanam maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirankara sama dukkha sukha kshami santushta satatam yogi yatatma druda nichaya maya arapit mano buddhir mad bhakta same priyaha. And you will see that for rest of the from 13, 14 onwards, Krishna would say, such a bhakta is very dear to me. Mad bhakta same priya. Such a devotee is very dear to me. So here he says that Advesta sarva bhutana, who is envious of all the living entities, not only Sanatan followers or only Hindus or only Indians. He said Advesta sarva bhutana maitra, very friendly, karuna, compassion, evacha nirmamo, nirahankara, without any false prestige, sama dukkha sukha kshami, is equal in happiness and distress, santushta, very satisfied, satatam yogi, completely all the time attached in the devotional service of Krishna, yatatma druda nichaya, is fixed in his devotional service, maya arapita mano buddhi, he has dedicated, he has offered his mind and intelligence to Krishna. Mad bhakta same priya, such a devotee is very dear to me. And like this, Krishna would speak all the qualities, and at the end, such a devotee is very dear to me, such a devotee is very dear to me, such a devotee is very dear to me. So that is shloka number 13 to shloka number 20. Sharam Prabhu, did you join? Hare Krishna, Sharam Prabhu. Okay, so let's begin our section. Any question or any comments, points so far before we get started the intended shlokas what we have planned for this evening? So offering our humble obeisances to our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Because of his mercy, we have all access to Bhagavadgita and the commentary so that we can easily understand and practice bhakti in our life. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Nam Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi पाश्चात्य देश तारिणी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So as we discussed, there are three divisions of Bhagavad Gita: chapter number 1 to 6, 7 to 12, and chapter number 13, which is Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and the middle is Bhakti Yoga. So these are the progressive stages of devotion which we are going to discuss. And let's begin the shloka number 8 from chapter number 12. May eva mana adastvam mai buddhim niveshaya nivasi shasya may eva ata vrudvam na samshaya. Just for some interaction here, can somebody read this shloka? One devotee, volunteer devotee can read this shloka in Sanskrit, not the translation. Hare Krishna.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu.
It is not showing, Prabhuji.
I was just checking whether Prabhu had joined or not. Okay. Okay, yes, Prabhu.
Mayeva mana adatsva mai buddhim niveshaya nivasishyasi mayeva ata udvam na samshaya.
Okay, can you read the translation also on the left side here, Prabhu?
Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus, you will live in me always, without a doubt.
Okay. So here Lord Krishna is specifically mentioned about, and if you see that there are word my three times, my eva mana, my buddhim, my eva. So there are two very important words that we need to focus here, is that manaha and buddhi. So Krishna is saying that you have to fix your mind upon me and your intelligence upon me, which is mana and buddhi. And then by engaging your mind and intelligence to me, you will come to me, you will live with me, na samshaya. There is absolutely no doubt for that. Now, this is the highest level of devotional service, where devotees have completely dedicated their mind and intelligence to Lord Sri Krishna. Now, how do we understand the mana? Offering our mind and intelligence is highly difficult and very, very challenging for the devotees, especially for all of us. So that is why this particular shloka is mentioning that it's the highest level of devotional service. Now, let's see, how do we say that offering our mind and buddhi is more difficult? So let's say three examples. In the first example, if we are offered, if we are asked to chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra for 64 rounds, which may take 6 to 7 hours. Point, second example, where you are asked to engage your intelligence in planning Janmashtami for 6 to 7 hours or 7 to 8 hours, and then ask some. And third choice is that if you are asked to engage in some service, say you are now in Janmashtami, you are taking care of some stall, or you are taking care of prasadam distribution. Out of these three things, which is most difficult from your point of view? Any volunteer? First is chanting 64 rounds, 7 to 8 hours. Second is planning for 7 to 8 hours for Janmashtami. And third is prasadam distribution for 7 to 8 hours or 6 to 7 hours. Which is more difficult?
Prabhuji, definitely the first one, chanting.
Chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, because fixing our mind on Lord Sri Krishna for such a long duration is very, very difficult. Because when we say mind, automatically Prabhupada says that what are the activities of mind? Lord Prabhupada gives us in purport that mind activities are thinking, feeling, and willing. So that means we are fixing our emotion, because feeling is our emotions. So fixing our emotions for such a long time without cessation, without disturbance on Lord Sri Krishna is a real challenge. And after that, the second is intelligence, which is buddhi. So what is the characteristics, or what are the activities of the buddhi? Buddhi means it has the ability to discriminate what is right and what is wrong, making plan. So buddhi can make plan for our own sense gratification, or buddhi can make a plan for engaging in the service of Krishna. So which is little second level of difficulties. So that is why focusing our mind and intelligence to Krishna all the time is very, very difficult. And that's why Krishna says that this is the topmost stage of devotional service. So now here, when Lord Krishna is talking about the stages, the progressive stages of the devotional service, Lord Krishna starts from the topmost. The topmost is that fixing our mind and intelligence in the service of Krishna. And the result of that, they will live with Krishna without a doubt. If you see just now the shloka that I read for 12.13 and 14, where it is said that Maya Arapit Mano Buddhir Mame Mad Bhaktah Same Priya. Such a devotee is very, very dear to me. Who has offered his mind and his intelligence to me. Such a devotee is very, very dear to me. In 8.7, Lord Krishna says that Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Maya Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mama Anusmaram Yudhacha Maya Arapita Mano Buddhir Mame Vaisesi Samshaya. So Krishna says again the same thing. One who has offered his mind and intelligence to me, he will definitely come to me. There is no doubt about that. And one more shloka, Man Mana Bhava Mad Bhakto 9.34. Man Mana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mame Vaishesi Yukta. So Lord Krishna said that if you think of me always, you will definitely come to me. There is no doubt about that. So mind and intelligence here offering to Lord Sri Krishna is the topmost. And this is possible only devotees who are on a spontaneous stage of devotional service. They are not like us who are practitioner devotees, sadhaka. They are the spontaneous devotees. For example, the Madhvendra Puri, such an example, who is dedicated his mind, intelligence in the service of Krishna. And once Madhvendra Puri was in Vrindavan, and he did not get, because he would live on Madhukuri. And once Krishna personally came and gave him a food. He said that in Vrindavan nobody goes hungry in my area, and he came as a disguise as a small Vrindavan boy, and he gave Madhvendra Puri kheer and milk. So we can understand that such a devotees are very dear. They are a spontaneous platform. Spontaneous means that just like any example in the material world is like mother's love for kids. When mother loves for the kids, spontaneous. For example, mother is in house and suddenly somewhere we can hear some cry. Immediately mother will see that if it is her son or daughter or somebody else. So that is, even she is working here, but her mind is always focused on her son or daughter. So similarly, the devotees who are on the spontaneous love for Krishna, they are always thinking of Krishna. And how they are thinking? Naturally. They are thinking about Krishna naturally. There is no force for them. Just like today, if we have to go for sense gratification, is so natural for us, which is actually unnatural, but because of our condition, it becomes so natural. But for devotees who are on such a stage of spontaneous love for Krishna, it becomes natural for them. And such a devotees are very great. And Krishna says the result of that, Mayeva ata vrudvam na samchaya nivas. They will live in me. Nivasi means they will live. They will nivasasi mayeva. They will live in me always, all the time. And such a devotee have come to Krishna is no doubt. So Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that they are spiritual. So what do you mean by devotee lives in Krishna? So there are 3-4 different ways that we can see that spiritualized relation with Lord. They don't live on the material platform. They are always thinking about Krishna. They are always thinking about serving Krishna. They have dedicated their life for Krishna. Everything is for Krishna. So they don't live on the material platform or material plane. Material plane means that we think something about our own sense gratification, and sometimes we think about Krishna. Once one devotee asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, Srila Prabhupada, it is so difficult that Maya, to overcome the Maya and think of Krishna. Prabhupada said, not sometimes, always we are under the influence of Maya. So it's so difficult, because thinking about Krishna means we are raising a war against Maya. It's very difficult. So that's why we think that whenever we associate with devotees, whenever we think about Krishna, whenever we chant Krishna's holy name, we hear about Bhagavadgita, we may think for some time about Krishna, but once that is done, we then naturally come to our own material plane. So, but the devotees who have dedicated their mind, they have fixed their mind, they always live with Krishna in their spiritual relationship. The spiritual relationship of a devotee is that they are always the servant of Krishna. They don't have anything else. The relationship of devotee to Krishna is that they are the servant of Krishna. And then they have spiritualized chanting. As when Krishna is chanting, it is said that Krishna is dancing on the tongue of devotees. And we know the Haridas Thakur is to chant 192 rounds per day. You will be surprised that if you calculate that for 192 rounds, that means typically 300,000 names, which is 3 lakhs names. So which will take typically 22 to 23 hours spontaneously. If you chant 16 rounds itself, you will say, oh Krishna, you'll feel so tough. But when devotees they have they concentrate their mind and intelligence, they continue go on chanting Hare Krishna mantra without cessation. And Haridas Thakur was one of the example where he would chant continuously for 22 hours practically without sleeping. And then spiritualized eating, when such a devotee offers a food, Krishna directly accept these eatables. And that we know example of Vidura, when Lord Krishna came to Hastinapur, and Vidura and Vidura's wife, they were so focused on Krishna and they were completely absorbed in the Krishna's thought. His wife, Vidura's wife, actually peeling banana, and she was giving the skin to Krishna, and the pulp was she was throwing. She was completely, and Krishna was happily eating that, because Krishna directly accepts these eatables. We also know the example of Sudama Brahmana, when he came from Dwarka to he came to Dwarka from his place, Porbandar to Dwarka. He had chipped rice, and he was hesitating, how can I give my chipped rice to Lord Krishna, who is the king of Dwarka? But Krishna actually said that, what you are hiding, please give me that, and he happily eat that chipped rice. So such a devotees, they are completely in a relationship with Krishna. They are completely, I mean, on the spiritual platform, they are always chanting Krishna's holy name, and they, whatever they offer to Krishna, Krishna directly take, and they enjoy taking the prasadam, the remnants of such an offering to Lord Sri Krishna. And of course, non-devotees cannot understand this. There are different acharyas. They say that Mai eva mana adastav. That means now there are two aspects which we discussed, that mana and buddhi. So now we have to say that where we focus on our mind, mana, mai eva mana adastav. We have to focus our mind on the personal aspect of Lord Sri Krishna. Because many times when we go outside, we think that we have to do meditation. But what is the object of our meditation? You can take any object. You can focus on some light, or you can focus on a point, or a bindu, or something. But here Krishna says, Mai eva mana adastav. Concentrate your mind on only me. Remember only me. And on what? The form of Shama Sundara, who is wearing the, whose complexion is like dark blue, and who is wearing the pitambari, the yellow garments. So that is where Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Baladev Vidya Bhushan says that you are concentrate your mind always upon me, not upon your Atma, not anything else, but upon Krishna. And Ramanujacharya says that focus your mind on me alone. And because of that, definitely we will be able to attain, the person will be able to easily attain without delay. So, Mahi Buddhim Niveshaya. So fix our intelligence. And what is the duty or the aspect or the functionality of the intelligence? The discrimination. That means Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that fixing our mind, fixing our intelligence on Krishna means that continuously meditate upon the scriptures using our intelligence. Think about that. Study that very scrutinizingly using our intelligence. Such a contemplation is called as manana. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that such contemplation is called manan. Ramanujacharya says that let our buddhi enter into me. That means in Krishna, strengthened by conviction that I alone am the supreme object to be attained. So we should have the complete conviction and faith that param praptya, Krishna is the supreme object, that the supreme goal of our life, supreme goal of everyone's life, supreme goal of everyone's endeavor. That is what Ramanujacharya said that. And ni vaisheshya maya, thus you will attain the residence near me. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that. Baladev Vidya Bhushan says that you will live very close to me. And Srila Sridhar Swami says that after death you will live with me alone, and there is no doubt. Ramanujacharya says that you will leave me alone, and you will leave me alone immediately after focusing your mind on me by forming the conviction that I am alone the supreme object. So now Krishna, somebody may say that not possible for me. All the time spontaneously thinking about Krishna. We can see the example of here that Dhruva Maharaj, when he left his body, there were the Vishnu Dutas who came and who took him there. And then Ajamila, at the end of his life, Vishnu Dutta came and took him to the abode of Lord Krishna. So we can see that the devotees who are fixed on such a consciousness, which is the topmost, when spontaneously mind and intelligence is fixed on Krishna, that is the topmost. Somebody may say that it is not possible for me. Now, what shall I do? Don't worry. Krishna gives the next level of that. Is it clear now? Any questions so far? The first level, which is the highest level, and which is the focusing our mind and intelligence on Krishna, which is the smarana and manana. Smarana means mind. The mind is always focused on Krishna, and using our intelligence, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that manana. Any questions so far? The first level of devotional service, which is a spontaneous devotional service, where devotees fixing their mind and intelligence on Krishna. Okay, if no question, let's move now next level. Okay, it is not possible for me to do that. Then what is the next level? Any devotees would like to read the shloka?
Prabhuji, may I?
Yes, please, Mataji.
Ata chintam samadhatum nakshanoshi mai stiram abhyasa yogena tato mam ichchaptam Dhananjaya.
Okay. Now here some words are very important. Atha chittam samadhatu na shaknosi mai stiram. If you are not able to focus spontaneously your chittam, consciousness, which is nothing but your mind and intelligence. Yeah, Mataji, sorry. You can read the translation on the right hand side.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mataji. So here, atha chittam samadhatu no shaknosi. Shaknosi means it's not possible. Mai stiram. If you are not able to fix your chittam unto me, chitta means mind and intelligence, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, chittam. Then what you do? Abhyasa yogena. Abhyasa means? Abhyasa means?
Practice, Prabhuji.
Practice. Very good. Abhyasa yogena, and by practice. Tato mam ichhaptu dhananjaya. By doing that, you will develop a ichha. Ichha means a desire to attain me, O Dhananjaya. In the previous sloka, Krishna said that if you leave your consciousness, that is mind and intelligence, onto me, you will live with me. But here, if you are not able to do the first level, then the second level says that at least practice that. Abhyasa yogena tato, and by doing the practice, one would actually come to develop a desire to attain Krishna. Now, how do you understand that? For example, in some unfortunate incidents, somebody had fractured his limb, say hand, unfortunate incidents. Now, the hand has some natural movement that one would actually engage that. Now, when somebody fractured that hand, so now his movements will be restricted. Now, then when you go to doctor, and the doctor would suggest, especially the physiotherapist, that you practice now. You practice because you are not able to naturally move your hand. Now you practice. Initially you do for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, like this, and then you strengthen your muscle, and then finally you will come to the natural stage. So similarly, if we are not able to focus our mind and intelligence in a spontaneous way, at least practice. And that is why Prabhupada says that following the regulative principles of devotional service, and that way we strengthening our muscles of focusing or fixing our mind and intelligence on Krishna. Now here, Arjun is called as Dhananjaya. Dhananjaya means who
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, you're on a mute.
How did I become muted? When did I get muted? Until
Just
what
now,
point you were able to hear me, Prabhu?
just no, 2 seconds before it was muted.
Okay, no problem. Thanks for that. So, just like that, if you are not able to do spontaneously, let's practice. Let's practice. For example, when the small child, when he starts practicing, starts walking, initially he will fall down. But that tendency of walking is already there. So similarly, but he falls down, he falls down, and then he gets up, and then he starts walking, falls down, he gets up. By practice, then one fine day he starts able to walk very easily, smoothly. Then he doesn't have to practice. Let's take example of riding a cycle. Initially, when you start riding a cycle, we are so conscious, practice, and then it becomes so spontaneous that you don't have to even think that whether you are pedaling or you are focusing. Same for the driving vehicle. It's so it becomes so spontaneous that you don't have to think that, oh, you are changing the gear, you are steering. Some people even speak over the, which is not recommended, but though, so it becomes so spontaneous. So similarly, we have to practice. If we are not able to focus spontaneously on Krishna, then at least by practice you do that. And that is where the second level of devotion Lord Krishna is recommending. So here it is said that if you are not able to concentrate your mind on steadily, then do practice repetition, method of repetition of fixing our mind on me, O conqueror of wealth. So that is why Prabhupada said that chant 16 round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because we are not spontaneously thinking about Krishna. Then chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and focus our mind and intelligence on Krishna. So here, so Prabhupada gives in a purport that how we develop love for Krishna. One is actually develop attachment to Krishna by transcendental love. So now there are some rules and regulation to elevate ourselves. So now how do we do that? Abhyas means what we do. Chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Prabhupada says rising early in the morning, taking bath, entering temple, collecting flowers, offering to cooking foodstuff for deities, honoring prasadam, constantly hearing Bhagavatam and Bhagavadgita from pure devotees. This is all that we can develop by following these rules and regulations of Abhyasa Yogena. Then one can actually come. So Krishna is not saying that this is not bad. This is also good. This is also devotional service. But that is the highest level. And if we cannot do that spontaneous, then at least by regulation, by Abhyasa, by practice, one actually engage himself, his mind and intelligence. Here it is said that, is this love artificial? So somebody may say, oh, you are putting tilak and dhoti, kurta and all those things and chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This love of yours seems to be artificial. Actually, no. Love for Krishna is dormant in everyone's heart. Just like the walking tendency is there in everyone. He has to just practice and do that. So similarly, the love for Krishna is already there. But now currently it is in a dormant stage. So we have to revive that love for Krishna by doing this a regulated way, by continuous practice of devotional service. Now, what is the difference between the sense gratification and bhakti yoga? We can say in sense gratification, so our senses are impure. In Krishna consciousness or bhakti yoga, when we are engaging our senses in the service of Krishna, the senses automatically becomes purified. As we say that cheto darpanam marjanam, by engaging our senses in Lord Krishna's service, automatically the senses become purified. In the sense gratification, the service is done simply for some exchange of money. Are there some exchange? I want something, that's why I do something. So there is no love, or there is no love for the process. There is no love for master or anybody. It is that just like the employee is working for employer. So because he get the money, so he work for that. Whereas in bhakti yoga, or by regulated ways, or by spontaneous way, the service is done without any ulterior motive. सवै पुंसा परो धर्मो यथोर भक्ति राधोक्षजे अहितुकी अप्रतिहता अहेतु. There is no hetu, अहितुकी अप्रतिहता यात्मा सुप्रसिद्धते. So service is done without any ulterior motive, for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. अन्य अभिलाषित शून्यम ज्ञान कर्मादि अनावृत कृष्णानुकूलशीलम भक्ति उत्तमा. So that's such a devotion to Lord Sri Krishna, where अन्य अभिलाषित शून्यम, there is no desire other than serving Krishna or for the pleasure of Krishna. And of course, There is no question of love. The love can be achieved by practice of devotional service. So when we engage in the practice in a sadhana, so that is we are called as a sadhaka. Sadhaka means we are a practitioner. We are not a spontaneous or natural lover of Krishna. We are putting ourselves in a sadhana bhakti, in a regulated way of bhakti, in a practice of bhakti, in a abhyasa yogena. And that is why we are called as a sadhaka. So why this abhyasa is required? Because if one is not able to remember Lord spontaneously, so we need this practice. We need that. So so that is what it is said, that if we are not able to focus on our mind immediately on me in deep meditation, then try to reach by practice. So by doing arati in the morning, engaging in chanting holy name, cleaning temple, offering naivadya to Krishna, honoring prasadam. So like this, abhyasa yogena mam aptum icha. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that how this abhyasa is done repeatedly. So in Bhagavadgita, Lord Krishna said the mind is a chanchal himana Krishna pramati baladruram. So mind is very difficult. So what this abhyasa means, that yato yato nicharati manaha chanchalam astiram. So wherever this mind goes, withdraw it back and focus by consciously to focus on Lord Sri Krishna. So that is the one, fix the mind on me by the method of abhyasa, by practice repeatedly, concentrate on Lord Sri Krishna. So that is what yato yato nichalati manaha chanchalam astiram. From wherever the mind goes, withdraw it back and focus on Krishna. And that is what is abhyasa. Abhyasa means by practice, dedicated way, regulated way of focusing our mind on Krishna. And why Arjuna is called as Dhananjaya? Because he conquered many enemies. So now here, conquer your mind, Arjuna, so that he can take the treasure of meditation. And what is the result of that? When our mind become devoted to Lord Sri Krishna, then automatically attaining Krishna will be much more easy. Okay, now somebody say, this is also not possible for me. What shall I do? Lord Krishna is very merciful, very, very inclusive and exclusive as well. So that he doesn't say that only you do these things. It's inclusive. It's method, because sometimes people ask, if bhakti is the only ultimate goal, then why Krishna talks about so many things? He should directly talk about, because everybody is not on that platform. And because he is the Lord of everything, so he should give a directions to every individual, because every individual is a part of Lord Sri Krishna. In Bhagavadgita 15th chapter, Krishna says that Mamay Amsi Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, every living entity is a part and parcel of Krishna. So Krishna should give ways and means for every individual. Now, if this topmost is not possible, spontaneous, then at least do the Abhyasa Yogena. And somebody say, I cannot do that as well. And what is the next way? So that is the third way. So just to revise that, what is the topmost stage of devotional service? Just to check that we are here and understanding it. What is the topmost stage of devotion? Hare Krishna. Are you able to mute yourself? What is the topmost? Okay, if you are not, at least you can tag, yes, spontaneous love for Krishna. So in this spontaneous love, what are the two senses, which is the senses we are fixing on Krishna? Mind and intelligence. Very good. Thank you, Sanjay Prabhu, Pankaj Prabhu. Thank you. So this is the first level of that. We are fixing manaha and buddhi on Krishna. Now, the second level, Krishna said, okay, if you are not doing spontaneously, mind and intelligence, very good. Barnali Senka. Okay. Now, next is that, okay, if you cannot do that, then what was the next level that we saw? The shloka number 9, 12.9. If you are not doing spontaneously, what is the next level of that? Yeah, even the Pankaj Prabhu, even the first is also Bhakti Yoga. We are talking about practice, yes, by Abhyasa. So fix our mind. Krishna is saying that fix your mind by practice. Abhyasa yogane na shaknoti. If you are not able to focus your mind on me spontaneously, then at least do by regulated way, by practice, by abhyasa yogena. And now the third thing is that Krishna, somebody may say that, okay, I am not able to do that as well. What to do? The third thing Krishna says that. Anybody would like to read? I think we have muted, right? Okay, I will read. अभ्यासे अपि असमर्थोसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदार्थम अपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम अवाप्स्यसि. Abhyasi api asamartho. If you are not able to do the abhyasa yoga by regulated practice, asamartho, not able to do that, mat karma parama. You engage or you work for me, mat karma. He is not saying that you do anything, but you say you engage, you work for me, mat karma paramo bhava, mad artham api karmani, kurvam siddhim avapsasi. By doing these things, siddhim, you will attain the perfection. So if you cannot practice abhyasa, abhyase api asamartho. Asamartho means you are not able to do the bhakti yoga. Then just try to work for me, mat karma paramam. Because working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. So this is now third level of things. Now Krishna is talking about that if you are not able to do that, at least you work for me. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that then perform the transcendental service to Krishna. By performing the activities for Lord Krishna, you will attain the perfection. In the first stage, Lord Krishna said that they live in me. The second stage, he says that you will develop a desire to come to me. And in third stage, he said that you will attain the perfection. So now what are the different activities that one can perform that for the pleasure of Krishna, that one would actually become perfect? So here Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that one should be sympathetic to propagation of Krishna consciousness. If you are not able to do abhyasa yogena, at least work for Krishna. So what are the different ways that one can work? It is said that just like that we need a building in office. So similarly, if we have to spread Krishna consciousness, we need a temple. So one can help in building a temple, one can help in publications, and one can, Prabhupada writes in that if you want to propagate Krishna consciousness, we need four things. We need a land, we need a capital, we need an organization, and we need a people. So similarly, we need all these things to practice Krishna consciousness or to spread the Krishna consciousness. One should have all these things. So we can work in whatever the capacity that we have. One should work for Krishna. Now, what is the difference between working for Krishna and working for our own business? The difference, as we discussed that earlier, that working for Krishna means our senses are working for Krishna for the pleasure of Krishna. And working for ourselves means that our end goal is to get some benefit for our own thing, ourselves. But in Krishna, in working for Krishna means one work for Krishna. Mat karma paramaha. So here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that engage in my supreme activities. And here Prabhupada says that if you are not able to do that, at least without remembrance of me. So in the previous things, now the difference between the previous thing and here is that here not able to focus your mind and intelligence on Krishna, but at least you are working externally to Krishna, even without remembrance of me, as previously described. So that means now these are the external activities of bhakti. The previous two shlokas are talking about the internal activities of bhakti. The internal activity means that focusing our mind and intelligence on Krishna. That is the first is the spontaneously. The second level is that practice one is actually focusing on Krishna. And third thing is that now you work for Krishna. But here it is not mentioned that we are focusing our mind and intelligence, but our external senses are we are engaging in the external activities of Krishna. And the example is that building a temple, watering the garden, and many things, sweeping, sprinkling the water, then engaging, chanting, circumambulating temple, glorifying Krishna, offering dandavat, and do this with great affection. So these are the different things it is said that Srila Sridhar Swami says that one should voluntarily fast on Ekadasi day. And just for your information, on Tuesday there is Ekadasi. So when we do this activity for Krishna, then actually our mind starts focusing on Krishna. Our mind get absorbed in Krishna, and that way we'll come closer to Krishna. At least we'll come to see Him. So the first thing is that internally we are focusing on Krishna. In the third stage, we are working for Krishna through our external activities. And now, if we are not able to do that as well, now the fourth level, Krishna is saying that, okay, somebody say, no, this is not possible for me because of my social things, some religious things. I cannot work for Krishna. Then what shall I do? Krishna says, because Krishna is very merciful, very encompassing. Athaidat api asaktosim kartum mad yogam asritaha sarva karma phala tyagam tat kuru yatatmavan. So important thing is that sarva karma phala tyagam. So what does it mean? Sarva karma phala tyagam. What does it mean? Any thought here? Karma phala tyaga. Renounce. Very good. Karma phala tyaga. The result of our activity, renounce that, offer to Krishna. That is a karma phala tyaga. If you are not able to work for Krishna, then at least if wherever you are working, may not be for Krishna, wherever you are working, but the result of that activity you offer to Krishna. Any example of that we can think of? Karma phala tyaga. Can somebody put in the chat box? What could be the result of karma phala tyaga? Now we all are working. What is the result of our karma? Or what is the result that we get when we are working in some office or wherever we are working? What is the result of our activity? Okay, detachment from karma phala. One way of doing that, detachment from the karma phala. Okay. What is the result of our karma? Salary, very good. Offering a part of salary to temple, Barnali Sen Prabhu. Yes, karma phala tyaga. Now I am working for some organization. You might be working for something, but that we are not working for Krishna directly. So we are working wherever we are, but we can do karma phala tyaga. Is that we can offer some portion of our salary for for offering to Krishna and Krishna's glorification, glorification of Krishna's message, glorification of Krishna's activity. So we have to spend some money for that. If, however, you are not unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act, giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated. So here, just to sing that, so bhakti we can be fixed through internal senses, which we saw in shloka number 8, shloka number 9, and bhakti means fixing our through external senses, hearing, chanting, mat artham karma kurvam, doing for Krishna's activity, which is shloka number 10. And those who cannot do above, then Krishna is recommending nishkama karma yoga, sarva karma phala tyaga, giving the result of his activity to Krishna. So the first, the smarnatmika bhakti. Smarnatmika means focusing our mind always about Krishna. Then mananatmika bhakti. Mananatmika means focusing our intelligence on Krishna. Abhyasa yogena, that is Abhyasa yoga bhakti, which is a sadhaka bhakti, which we do that by chanting Krishna's holy name, so that we are regulated by practice, focusing our mind on Krishna. And if you are not able to do through internal senses, at least the external senses mean that we are engaging in hearing and chanting and some other activities. And if we cannot do that as well, then we are recommended to give the phala tyaga. Now, what are the different ways that we can do here? We can see that One may be doing some activities for the family members, for others, and doing some activities and offering the result to Krishna. So this is the way that one can actually engage things. Here it is said that whatever the result which is visible or visible are in the hands of Lord, and then offering that result to Sri Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says that how this giving of fruits of activity is very important aspect of in even one's life. One may not be directly working for Krishna by helping poor people, by helping the handicapped people, or for anybody or unprivileged people. So here it is said that if we start doing that, giving of our fruits of our activities, then it actually helps us to purify our mind. We become detached from the results of our activity, the results, karma phala tyaga. And because once it helps us to purify our mind, and it helps that understanding of Krishna consciousness. So Krishna is saying that, okay, if you are not able to work for me directly, at least give you a result of your activity. And because of that, you will become more favorable to receive knowledge, to be favorable for bhakti. And one fine day, you may come to Krishna. There are many people, we see the example of book distribution and all the things, or prasad distribution. People take prasad and they take Krishna consciousness book. It may take some time, but one fine day we have seen, we have heard, we have read so many stories where the devotees, once they took a book, it took 3 years, 4 years, but they came back to Krishna. Somebody took prasadam and it took some few years for them to come to Krishna. So when we do such activity, we engage ourselves for such activities, the mind gets purified. And once the mind gets purified, we are actually ready to receive Krishna consciousness through some devotees. So it is just a matter of time that one come to Krishna. So in Vedic culture, it is said that we perform some fire sacrifices and full moon sacrifices, divide of results, desire for the results. Because of the knowledge will arise, then one will realize what is one position. Prabhupada writes in the purport, and then one realize the supreme position of the Lord, and gradually bhakti will manifest. So by engaging in some sacrifices, by engaging may not be directly for Krishna, or indirectly by giving the karma phala tyaga, one actually come to the situation of knowledge. From knowledge one may realize, and then one engage in the bhakti. So this is the gradual way, so that Krishna is saying that at least if you are not able to work for me, at least if you are not doing the abhyas yoga, at least if you are not spontaneous love, give the phala tyaga. And by phala tyaga, one will be favorable to Krishna consciousness. And now the last shloka of this section, Acharyas actually tells us that this shloka is not to be taken directly from the level of 11, but is the offshoot of shloka number 10. So in the shloka number 10, it is said that if you are not able to work for me, then what you do? Sreyo hi jnanam abhyasad jnanat dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma phala tyaga tyaga shantir antaram. It is said that if you cannot take to that practice of Krishna, working for Krishna, which is the third level, working for Krishna, if you are not able to do that, so the 11th and 12th are the offshoot of shloka number 10. The 11th shloka is said that you at least do karma phala tyaga. In the shloka number 12, it is said that if you are not able to work for Krishna, then what you do? You engage yourself in a jnanam. Sreyo hi jnanam. And from jnanam, then cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge is the dhyanam, meditation. And better than meditation is a renunciation of the fruits of our action. And finally, one will achieve shantim. So 12th shloka, Krishna is saying that, okay, at least if you are not working for Krishna, you start developing a knowledge by reading or hearing of Bhagavadgita about impersonalism and then personalism, personal aspect of Lord Krishna, which is better than that. And better than jnana is the meditation, fixing our mind on Krishna. And better than is that dhanat karma phala tyaga, renunciation, because when we meditate on Krishna, the result of that, one would actually give the result of his activity, karma phala tyaga, and then finally he would achieve the shantim. So that is how this whole section Lord Krishna is talking about that. So here we can see the offshoot of 10 point or 12.8, if you cannot engage all your external senses, that is mat karma working for me, then what you do, you cultivate in knowledge. From knowledge, better than the knowledge is meditation. Better than meditation is the renunciation of the phala tyaga, and the result of that one will achieve shanti. So that is how Prabhupada says that one is a direct method. The direct method is that you describe regulative principles, full attachment to Krishna, and sorry, that's a direct method. And the gradual method is that you develop a knowledge, from develop knowledge from jnanam to dhanam to come to the stage of offering result, and then one can come to the level of bhakti. So there is a direct method and gradual method. Prabhupada says that direct method is what recommended to Arjun. So the progressive stage of, and this is the last slide, the progressive stage of devotion, the first stage, Krishna said that completely mind and intelligence fixed on Krishna. This is the topmost stage of direct, the spontaneous. If you cannot do that, at least do by regulative principle, that is abhyasa, by practice. If you cannot do that, at least work for Krishna. If you cannot do that, then you renounce your result. That was 11. And 12, he said that renunciation, then cultivation of knowledge and meditation. So purification, peace, and the gradual elevation. So this is how the progressive stage of devotion is mentioned by Lord Sri Krishna in this section of Bhagavad Gita, starting from the shloka number 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we will pause here for a few minutes. If there is any question and discussion, and at the end we'll have one round of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra together. How do you allow others? Prabhu, can you allow others to unmute themselves so that if somebody has any question, they can ask? Hare Krishna, anybody has, or you can raise your hand, then I can unmute you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So devotees who want to speak, they can raise their hands so that I can unmute them.
Okay, Santosh Kumar, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. The last
Yes,
one, it is little confusing, Prabhuji. Can you maybe little bit elaborate?
Yes, Prabhu. Okay, so let me, let me share the screen again. So the last one, the 12th one, right?
Yeah, okay.
So the 12th one, Lord Krishna says that because from Acharya we understand that 12th is not connected to the 11th, but it is connected to the 12th, 10th. In 10th, Lord Krishna is saying that you work for me, mat karma, right? Do you agree with that, Prabhu? Until that is clear? Santosh Prabhu, until 10th is clear to you, Prabhu? Okay, I hope I'm not able to see screen, but I hope you are okay. So now, if you cannot work for Krishna, then in 12th shloka, 12.12, which is very easy to remember. So Lord Krishna is saying that now you cultivate knowledge, which is Brahma Jnana, knowledge about the soul, which is different from the body. Now with that knowledge, by reading Bhagavad Gita, hearing, better than the knowledge is meditation. Meditation on Krishna, super soul, Paramatma. Better than the meditation is the phala tyaga, because this meditation will automatically result into phala renunciation, and the renunciation will result into shanti. So this is kind of a result. One way of looking at the 12th shloka is the result of, from knowledge one will result into meditation, meditation will result into renunciation of the results, and the renunciation will result into the shanti. But they are to be done if you cannot do the shloka number 10, the engaging external senses for Krishna, mat karma. So that 12th, if you cannot do 10th, then at least follow the 12th, which will actually result to the bhakti. Is that clear, Prabhu?
Yeah, clear, Prabhuji. Thanks.
Okay, I see Barnali Sen Prabhu asking that Hare Krishna Prabhu, what is the process of renouncing work if one is not a professional? So when you say one is not professional, so what does it mean? That means he's not working for someone? Not get, so what exactly it means one is not professional, Prabhu? So then it will help me to understand your question. You can type it or you can mute yourself. I'm asking you to unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, if
Yes.
one doesn't draw any salary, that is what I have. How to renounce work then?
If somebody is not able to get some salary, so there are different ways one can do that. For example, he can work for Krishna, like coming to the temple, cleaning the temple. The other way of doing that, now we may have some program, or somebody is spreading Krishna consciousness, then I can help him. I can come and for example, as simple as that, one come to the temple and clean the temple, or in temple there is a prasadam distribution, so I go and help in prasadam distribution. So giving, so now I may not have a dedicated way of financial things, so at least then I can do of engaging my mind intelligence. If that is not possible, at least engaging my time for the service of Krishna. For example, there are some devotees, they are not professional, or they are not employed. So what they do, that they come and take back to Godhead magazines and Srila Prabhupada books, and they go and distribute Srila Prabhupada books. So that way they are engaging or renouncing the activities of their results, or whatever they may get of their results. Now somebody may be a shop owner, or they are the floor vendor, so they can offer their floors to Krishna. Or somebody may be running a grocery shop, so he can give some, whatever the benefit or the profit that get, he offer the result of that to Krishna. Okay, is that clear, or any question that you have? Anybody has question, they can raise their hand, and then you can unmute. Okay, so I see no hands or no question here in the chat box. So I assume that we are in difficult situation, then we should leave it for Krishna, or do endeavor to come out. Okay, so Shobha Mataji is asking the question, if we are in a difficult situation, shall we endeavor, or we just leave it to Krishna? So now Arjun was in a difficult situation, right? Arjun was in a maybe much more difficult. He was on a battlefield, and in such a difficult situation, and that I don't think that there could be such a difficult situation than the Arjuna's situation. So he was on the battlefield, and now he was in a completely confused stage. The confusion stage, that whether shall I fight or shall I not fight, and he has given us so many reasons that why he should not fight. Now what happened, he was confused and difficult situation, where somebody may have different situation according to our time, place, circumstances, maybe different situation, health situation, financial situation, job situation, relation situation, family problem. There are n number of problems and difficulties. This material world, dukhalayam shashvatam, all the time there are some padam yat vipadam, there is always some challenging situation. So in that case, what was recommended to Arjuna? Krishna said that, Arjuna said, okay, I'll renounce everything and I'll beg. He said, no, you must fight it. And how shall we fight it? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmaram yuddhacha. So, and the famous shloka, that 2.47 is that, what is the famous shloka that you do your duty and offer result to Krishna? Very famous shloka. Karmanyavadhikarasti ma phaleshu kadachan ma karma phala hetur mate sangosya karma. So this is very important. So whether it's a difficult or situation where we cannot just leave to Krishna. Otherwise, Krishna would have he would have taken all of us without doing anything. He would have said in Bhagavad Gita or all the scripture that you don't do anything and I will take automatically. No, Krishna did not mention. In fact, Bhagavad Gita 3rd chapter, it is said that you cannot even remain idle for a moment. So we must do our duty. Karmanyavadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. So we have to perform our duty, but we have to depend on Krishna for a result. So one devotee said that when it comes to performing our activity, we should do as if 100% it depends on me. When it comes to result, leave everything to Krishna. Don't think anything else. So when Shobha Mata is asking the situation when there is a difficult situation, we should leave it to Krishna. Of course, we can leave result to Krishna, but what is supposed to do from our side, we must do that. Because that is what Krishna wants from all of us. Voluntarily he wants us to come to that. Otherwise, he would have said that don't do anything and I will take everybody back to Godhead. No, he said that karmanyavadhikaraste, perform your duty. And 2nd chapter, 3rd chapter, 5th chapter, so many times Krishna said that you must do your duty, but you leave result to Krishna. Now, one may be in difficult situation. What is, as a student, one's duty might be studying that. He must do that. As a grahastha, as an employee, he must do his duty, going to the office or wherever, as a office goer or going to working for a government or the private sector, wherever one is working, one must perform his duty. But one can actually give the result of that activity to Krishna by giving a salary, some portion of the salary to Krishna consciousness, by engaging ourselves in book distribution, helping devotees who are actually spreading Krishna consciousness, by conducting Bhakti Ruksha, or there are different ways one can actually help devotees in a different ways. So that is how, even if the situation might be difficult. Now, for example, one may have very serious health issue. So now he may not be able to go externally doing something, but at least he can chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, read about Bhagavad Gita, read about Bhagavatam, hear about Krishna's Katha. So there are different ways one can actually engage in Krishna consciousness. Somebody may have some financial situation, but at least in the evening, he may go to temple and do some services there or help other devotees. So there are n number of channels and avenues that one can engage in Krishna consciousness, even if the situation may be difficult. Aishwarya Mataji, can you unmute yourself and ask the question?
Yes. Yeah, it's not a question, Prabhuji, but
Yes,
for the session, just I really thank you for a wonderful session today, because Lord is so merciful that in these 4 verses, He's giving us options. Like, ye nahi to ye karo kam se kam. But, come to me and I'll always protect you. So that is what he's saying. But we are so busy in our bhogi life that we are like, kal karenge. So we keep avoiding, but Lord has simplified everything. So, what I believe is the more and more Shravanam and Kirtanam we do, we will at least find the taste, the ruchi towards devotion to Lord. So, yeah, it's very important for every age group. That is what I feel. That we always feel that now it's kind of a rat race. There's no time for bhakti, or maybe morning may no, I don't have time for chanting. I have to catch this particular local. Otherwise, if I miss this local, I won't be able to catch the next train. That's a heavy Mumbai rush. This thing, but. Whenever possible, we should always remember Krishna, and these verses are too good, Prabhu. It's so practical in our life that if not this, please do this. Lord himself is saying that. So thank you so much for the session, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mother. That reminds me one joke. Once a king, he went to Krishna, and then there was a conversation, because your point, thanks for sharing. It was nice that how Krishna is so merciful. The king said, Lord said to king that you are greater than me. And king said, how is that I am greater than you, my lord? He said that if you don't like anybody from your kingdom, you can throw him out of your kingdom. But if I don't like anyone, I cannot throw anybody anywhere, because everything is my kingdom. So I have no place that I can excel somebody, just like Lord Ram was excelled to forest. So here it is said that I cannot do. So that means you are greater. So now I'm connecting to you here to Krishna, because here Krishna is so merciful that he doesn't want to miss anyone. He doesn't want to leave anyone. He doesn't want to expel anybody from his kingdom. But he said that if you cannot do this, you do this. If you cannot do this. If you cannot do, at least work for me. If you cannot work for, at least give the result of your activity to me. That's why our Lord Sarva Bhutanam is not only from particular caste, region, religion. No, he is a master, supreme Lord of all the living entities, Sarva Bhutanam. And that is the greatness of our Lord, so merciful. Thanks, Mataji, for bringing this point. So it's already 7:52. If there is no point, question, or the things, we'll have one round of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And then, so today, just for a change, I will share screen, and we will chant together Srila Prabhupada's along with Srila Prabhupada. So when I share, please just inform me that whether you are able to see and hear. Are you able to hear and see? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, that screen is not, we're not able to see. You can share the screen also. Sound is coming, but screen is not coming.
Okay. Share the screen.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see both, and full screen you can keep on.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Radha Srivasadi Gaur Bhakti. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare.
Prabhuji, you can unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, bro. So I was just saying that at least if we are not able to focus spontaneously, so here is opportunity for all of us by Abhyasa Yogena. Yato yato nicharati manaha chanchalam astiram. Wherever the mind goes, let us bring back on the holy name of Lord Krishna. So with all love and devotion to Lord Sri Krishna, for the pleasure of Lord Krishna, along with Srila Prabhupada, let's hear and chant the holy name together.
Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदाम Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So we'll end here. So almost 20 devotees are there. So just to conclude here, if you would like to type here what are the different stages that we discussed, and with that we will end here. If you can chat what is the topmost level of devotion or bhakti that we discussed in 12.8, you can type here, and then 12.9, 12.10, and then we'll end here. The quicker you type, the quicker we'll end. 12.8. What was the 12.8? Spontaneous service. Very good, Priti Mataji. Okay, very good. Next, 12.9. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. 12.9. If you cannot do spontaneously, then what you do? Abhyasa. Very good. Practice. Very good. Aishwarya Mataji, Barnali Prabhu. Thank you very much. And if you cannot do now internal senses, now next Krishna says that at least you do externally. What is that? 12.10. What is the Sanskrit word, or at least in English? Work for Krishna. Very good. Mat karmo. Work for Krishna. And if you cannot do that, the last one Krishna said, which is equivalent to that, renounce. Very good, Santosh Kumar, Phala. And then 12th shloka is nothing but connected to 10th. If you cannot work for Krishna, then what we do? Develop a knowledge, right? From knowledge develops meditation. From meditation develop Phalatyaga develops Shanti. So thank you very much, devotees. It was wonderful. I hope at least we can go this deep into the 12th chapter and understand that such a small chapter. So today we discuss about the different stages, and Prabhupada recommends all of us that at least we come to the spontaneous, if not at least in Abhyasa Yogena, Abhyasa by practice. So that's why we dedicatedly, by practice, we chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So we fix our mind and Krishna on, our mind and intelligence on Krishna. So with that, we will end here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.